Right, okay, welcome along. How are yous? If this is a video on YouTube, then come to Twitch and get involved in the live experience and we check out these albums when they drop on Friday. But we have already just listened to the first 3 tracks off of the ERRA album that just dropped today. It's called Cure, and this is the single that they have released on release day with the album, and it's called Slow Sour Bleed. So just a quick recap for anyone who's watching this after the fact. My experience with the singles leading up to the album release wasn't the most positive, and we have now been checking out the first 4 singles, or first 4 tracks off of the album, and I've been much the same opinion of the album, unfortunately. But based on how it's gone so far, the tracks have been quite tame, quite safe in my opinion. There's been some fun moments in it, but I'm hoping this track is a little bit heavier, because it feels like this should be a moment when it gets a little bit heavier. Let's go. More riffs, please. Come on. More fucking riffs. I'm in. I'm sold. Feels like there's something on the line. There's just that tension in the muted riff in the back. Just feels like we're actually kind of waiting for something, as opposed to just like for the whole album, you know? They're doing the thing. If the album continues like this, I'll forgive them for the first songs.
No! nothing grows in eternity.
Okay, right. I fucking needed that from ERRA. I fucking needed it. I've been such a fan of these guys, and I've been like really trying to just love all of the music that they've been releasing with the you know, the single releases up to this album cycle. I've been trying so hard, and it's nice to just not have to try to like a song now. That for me is by a fucking country mile the best song on the album. Not just because it's heavy, not just because like, oh, breakdown. It just felt a little bit more inspired than the tracks that we've got prior to this. So Cure wasn't bad. I like the melody in it. I like the bends in the riff in the chorus. Just adds a little like cool dynamic to it. But ultimately it just still, for what I know ERRA to be, it felt safe. And that theme continued throughout Rumor of Light, Idlewild, and Blue Reverie. You know, bar a few moments in those tracks, but ultimately it just felt like it was too pristine. It was almost robotic to a certain extent, whereas this one just feels like they've tried something a little bit different, and that becomes very obvious and prominent in the small electronic section that we got before the breakdown. You know, just tension. There was the muted riffs, which I always love ERRA for. It's funny because when I look back, when I first started checking out ERRA, I couldn't stop thinking about Tool, because they used those like muted, like jamby style riffs that Tool have got so many fucking, you know, variations of. And I always was like, oh, this is like a metalcore Tool, which when I look back on is like such a mental comparison. But it's funny, like going back to it now, that there's just small things that they do in their playing style that just have been so good in the past for me. And I feel like they've completely gone away from that, but there was definitely that tension built. And that's what I mean. It's just like, it felt like there was something on the line with this build up. It was like, there's actually something fun going to happen, as opposed to just kind of a fun kind of pop rock chorus with some like pretty plain enough, simple riffs for the most part. So that to me, favorite song that ERRA have released off of the entire album cycle so far. And I'm hoping we can get some other tracks. From what I can see, we've heard Pale Iris, which is probably my favorite single that they released. So at least we still have that. So although I do think it's a bad start to the album apart from this track, so the first 5 songs I have not really fucked with apart from this, I'm hoping we can really turn it around here. It's gonna take a lot, but I have fucking faith in ERRA being able to do this, right? That is all for this YouTube video. So yeah, leave a like and all that kind of stuff, and you can catch the full video on Patreon. So cheers, goodbye. Anyway, back to Twitch. How are you, lads? I'd probably give it like an 8.5. I think that's probably my favorite song that they've released for sure.